Hey, Denise, and everybody else. Hey, what's up?
Hi Todd, how are you?
I'm sleepy. How
You just got
about-
up.
No, I got up a couple hours ago. It's 9 o'clock here, so I got up at 7, right around 7. What's been happening, man? What's going on in South Africa?
Yeah, no, everything's been great the past 3-4 days, I'd say.
Really?
Feeling, yeah, 3-4 days been great, but today's felt very intense.
Yeah.
Today, since I woke up this morning, the energy's been intense.
Whoa. So
Yeah,
you did well the last few days, but today you're feeling some stuff.
yeah, today I'm feeling some stuff. But then besides the whole of July, probably one of the most challenging months I've had in many years.
Months?
Mentally,
The
yeah,
month of July?
the month of July.
Yeah, no doubt. There's no doubt there. That was.
Yeah,
I don't see it
yeah,
as it was the biggest month. I can't remember anything like that. So
yeah,
a
another level.
lot of people, well, a lot of people, some people, I don't want to. Well, yeah, I can say Amanda Lawrence, Wanda Vitale, Morgan Lee, 2, 3 others I can't think of right off the top of my head, talking about self-worth, self-value, a higher level of self-value where you have this level of self-value in the moment and it dictates your actions. And that seems to be, I'm not saying that's the prevalent energy, but there's enough people talking about it that there may be something to it. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree, definitely. Well, the month of July for me was 100% inner childhood wounds, um, ancestral, and it was kind of all happening at once. All happening at once. Yeah, so for the beginning of the month, I felt disconnected. I just went very much into human mode.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was processing a lot very quickly.
Yeah.
But then I'd say from about Monday this week, I've been feeling pretty good. I kind of made it through the other side.
Until
And
today.
then till today it comes back. Yeah. It was a weird day today. Just was strange. I don't know how to explain it.
Well, the only way to explain it is to try to explain it right. But yeah, man, I don't know. On one hand, it seems okay. I'm just going to say this from the chair I sit in, and I don't get on a lot. I really don't. But when I get on to the news feed, I see things, I guess, that are meant for me first and foremost. I think we all got to remember that. Whatever the hell you're seeing out there, whoever's pissing you off or triggering you or activating you, whoever it is not about them. And so what I'm seeing sitting in this chair is I no longer can look at a person and say they're conscious. I can, or look at a person and say they're unconscious. Like that's separation. And I'm not saying it for that reason. I'm just saying it because it's reality. What I can look at is I can say that the unconscious part of that person, okay, I can't speak to that on whatever the case is on this subject. And I know it applies to me as well. So it's kind of tricky, but what I'm getting at to sum it up is I'm seeing deep wounds in many, many people that we would consider high vibrational. And the symptoms that I'm seeing are the finger pointing, okay, the declarations, like I saw one the other day that said, if I point things out to people, I have a problem. Why do they say I'm in judgment? If I point things out to people publicly and openly, Why am I in judgment? Well, I think there was a time for that. I think there was a time which was disclosure, which was 9/11, JFK, who we really are, what is a narcissist, what is an empath, and all these different things. But I think we're at the point now where we got to be real careful. We got to be real careful because you can only talk about stuff for so long, and then it's obvious that whatever you're hung up on is hung up in you, and you're not conscious of it. This is tricky, but I think the whole thing about the Great Divide, in my opinion anyway, is not accurate anymore, because the Great Divide is in everybody. I'm got a conscious part and I got an unconscious part, and my objective is to be in the conscious part as much as I can, moment by moment, and the universe will support that. But to think I'm conscious and I'm in some kind of select group, 144, star seed, way shower, first waiver, and all that, I don't give a damn what kind of intel you're getting, what type of memories you have. We're all at this point right now in the same boat. Every one of us. We're all
100%.
don't know what the hell's happening. I mean, when you get right down to it. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I had to go
Yeah,
off.
no, 100%. So on my side, this month as well, I've been shown from all the way a year ago, my unconscious behavioral patterns. And where maybe a year ago before that, where I was pointing fingers, I've been shown with clarity how that was just a shadow aspect of myself.
Yeah.
And everything's been set up by myself. So like you say, whatever I come across on Facebook, and whatever's triggering me, that is just a reflection of unconscious or some sort of pattern or program that is running within myself that is being reflected to me. So as soon as that's been happening for me, which doesn't happen that often, but it does happen, I get triggered.
Yeah.
I just put it into myself and I say, what is this trying to show me?
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've been able to laugh about it. I've been able to, be gentle with myself and see the humor in it.
That's good. That's good. That's a good point to get to. And it's not always easy to see it. And, this transition is just has turned or twisted or something, proving that it's not a linear, it's a spiral thing, right? But back to your comment about, okay, so I look at a couple things, and I'm here just to put this stuff on the table to try to elevate and expand and hopefully offer codes of expansion for others. Not that I know what the hell I'm doing, but talking to you seems to stimulate something in me. So like there's two things I look at. One is we had a great interview with Ingrid Esteme from Norway.
Yes, I saw that one.
Phenomenal lady. And so the thing that jumped out at me was, so it's value, self-value on the table, and at the same time, judgment. Okay? That's what I see. With this self-value expansion that we're having, the higher the soul goes, the higher the ego goes. So she's very cut and dry, very direct, and I really dug what she said. And she said, I no longer, I leave behind those who need to be saved, which was basically saying I'm not going to engage in a codependent relationship. I'm not going to be somebody's nipple, pacifier. So and that sounds pretty rough, and it is. But it's an all or nothing proposition where we're at, the way I look at it. Now over here, you got judgment, and that judgment, because of your value, you're going to take a stand, but not in the old way. Let's protest, let's march, let's fight. This isn't fight. The judgment thing is in my opinion, the egoic parallel of the self-value soul elevation. And so I don't know what happens at that point, but one thing I will say to myself is keep yourself in check. Keep your mouth shut. Observe, analyze, process, laugh, whatever, but you know, this is more than ever, for me anyway, the time to look at everyone as me, equal to me. And that's, I don't have the perfect equation for it. You know, it's not always easy. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree with you. So from what I've seen is, and I do see it on Facebook and social media, and you know, sometimes it's coming from respected people, from what I've seen. So I've just observed, really, just observed. And I think as we're changing within ourselves internally, not that anything is good or bad or better or worse, but expanding our level of consciousness, some teachings from some people, you know, are going to be seen in a different light now.
Yeah.
So the big theme for me now is what I'm getting is letting go. It's just letting go, not having to do anything. There's less to do now.
True.
So whatever falls away will fall away, whether it be relationships, teachers, and whatever shape that comes in, way or form. And the news coming in. So it really is about, for me personally, I'll talk about myself, is I've really had to let go. Letting go and letting go and letting go again. And making space for that which is in alignment to my highest good to come in.
Yeah.
Because it's all waiting there. It's all in the blueprint.
That's true. That's true. And I think that's actually applicable to these situations. You know, I don't block people. But when I heard Ingrid say that, I know I don't block people because I felt like it was a form of resistance, right? And I've had people coming at me for 8 years. It's not a big deal. But unless they got like, you know, like stupid, I mean, like, you know, where they were saying like, you know, very inappropriate things, you know, curse words, whatever. Or if it was a bot, you know. So, but anyway, so there was a couple of people that actually, there was an occurrence 2-3 months ago on one of the shows, and the guest created a lot of chaos, or I don't know. I didn't know it was there. I didn't know what was happening. But some people kind of like formed a vigilante group. They went after him, and they went after me and Morgan and Soulogy. And so we just do what we normally do. We didn't say nothing. And but then one of them went public. And I've known this person a long time. I know him very well. I know their shadows. I don't talk to him about their shadows. I don't say nothing to them. I don't do that with anybody. It's just not my gig. But went out of their way to name us live on camera in front of brothers and sisters and talk shit, which wasn't accurate. And I find it on one hand, it's a little bit. I feel some compassion because in the words that they speak or write, it's easy to see the shadow, and so it's easy for me to have compassion. But when I saw this yesterday, and again, I'm not friends with that person. I was unfriended. I don't follow that person. So you pull up the thing. The universe is always speaking to me, and I see the name, made a comment about you, right? So I looked at it, and it was like, you know what? I thought about what Ingrid said, and I said, you know what? Enough's enough. Not that I don't think this person is me, but I don't want this in my field. I can choose what kind of experience I can have. And if there's nothing more that I know about because I don't know anything about this trip we're on, but if there's one thing that I know, how you do it, don't ask me, but it has to do with the creative element or the creative energy that we are, and in serving the universe, therefore serving the universe, the collective, we can actually maximize our potential and create some serious illumination beginning from the center of the universe, which is myself. And that's where I'm at with it. You know, if something's coming in, I'm not going to condemn it or damn it. I'm just going to say, it's not my monkey, not my monkey's not my circus, you know, move on. It's weird because at this point that the human is getting real involved. You know, like the human consciously is really in the game here. It's not the multidimensional running everything and, you know, hey, here's the magic word and here's the abracadabra, you know, whatever. It's like the humans right there going, okay, everybody, I know you're here and I know you're part of me and I get the game, but what the hell we do now?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. For me, whenever, and I've had similar things, Todd, and how I've interpreted if there is an attack or anything like that, with the knowingness that when there's something dark happening, there's something light happening at the same time.
True.
So if there's somebody behind the scenes, okay, who may have harmful intent, okay, that, or in my cases, has been an opportunity when there's clarity in the scenario, when maybe the individuals expose themselves, I'm able to see it and therefore make a decision, whether it be blocking the person or just saying to them nicely that, you know, listen, this interaction is done. I'm able to remove that person, as you say, from my field.
Yeah.
So it's shining a light on the darkness.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
the
these
way
occurrences often, if they don't make sense now for me or in my life, whether it be a month or a year later, that interaction, what happened, I see, in fact, how perfect it was.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it will make sense, and I'll know what I need to know when I need to know it.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, you know, like a person is no different than any other energy. It's an energetic representation. So, okay, this has been good for me. Okay, you know, it's easy to say don't take it personal, right? And don't get personal, but it's not always easy to stop from taking it personal or getting personal. And even if you're not talking personally to the people, because, you know, I've had a thing with over the last probably 12 months, getting rid of sarcasm. You know, you be sarcastic, you're funny, you make jokes, but it's not funny because it's an all or nothing proposition. You either your thought, your energy itself is either is oneness, is unity, or it's not. There's no, you know, 99%. Hey, it's okay, but not including those 2-3 people because they effed me over. Or, you know, that doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. It's an all or nothing proposition. And really, if there is a select group of people out there, if there is, that group is an ever-changing group. It might be a 1% or 2% or 5% or whatever it is. But just because you're in that group today, and I don't give a damn what your transmissions, downloads, and channels are. I don't give a damn. Because if you're flatlining tomorrow, you won't be in that group. You'll be in the other group, which is the group that may think they know more than they do. Because one thing about this minority, small, strong minority group, they know they don't know anything. But they know one thing is you got to keep moving and expanding and being open to growth and objective as much as possible in this suit every day. Because every day is a new ascension. Every day is a new day. Every day there's a new truth and a new set of rules. You know. I don't know what's happening. It's just coffee, I guess. So what was it that? How were you feeling discomfort today when you woke up after work?
Today, just all I got was that something big is going on.
Yeah.
That something big was going on, and the energy was very intense. It was very intense, and then it's 9:20 here in the evening, so I'd say at about 7 o'clock, then it kind of eased. But I mean, with every wave coming in, you know, this is happening every 3-4 days now. I mean, it's just it's the norm. So I didn't think too much about it. It just, there was some kind of density in the atmosphere that I felt.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. Yeah. Well, you know, this thing with the self-value And I think this judgment thing is running. I think it's very, very important for us to be vigilant in regard to check ourselves, you know, and hopefully catch these exceptions we're making to the rule for ourselves and any absolutes that we're throwing out there at our brothers and sisters, which we're really throwing down at the universe. What I mean by that is, oh, well, it works this way, or this needs to happen, you know, or this is right and this is wrong, or whatever, because ain't nobody got it all right. Ain't nobody walking on water out there. Not to say that we can't all be walking on water tomorrow, because I think we're headed to some kind of huge collective expansion that's going to be noticeable to everybody.
No, for sure. Definitely a big shift happening right now, from my perspective. So what I've been getting is there's this purple energy that is flooding the planet right now. Okay, and then also the other day, and I think that lady is named Maya or Maja.
Yeah. Maya.
She spoke about it, the Syrian connection. But the Syrian, it's a Syrian aspect of ourselves to do with divine union. Okay, is merging.
Yeah.
Is merging. So these aspects have been waiting, okay, for the right amount of time in order for lack of a better word, this shit to be transmuted, in order for, you know, them to come in and join in on the party, the experience.
Yeah.
So that's what I've got this week, is the Syrian aspect of the self coming in for merging. And then this purple, beautiful new energy that's come in, assisting with divine unions and all kinds of soul connections from a soul family, soul monadic field perspective coming into play, moving through Lionsgate. So it's the next wave of the physical unions for the divine counterparts coming into play, moving through Lionsgate into 2020.
Man, 2020 is going to be the bomb at this rate.
Yeah.
So that our friend Huna says that in let's see here. I think that's I think it's I'm trying to say Lemurian. He says they call that color the Kumara, and then you know, through this last I don't know, through this whole self-value thing, a little fuzzy, but Morgan does these mandalas. She does these sets of mandalas, and so before she starts them, I guess I don't know how she does it, but she connects with the energy that's prevalent, or the energy that's coming to be transmuted, processed, or expanded. And so she did one set through the latter part of last month. What do we want to call that? Hell month? I'm just kidding.
Someone had a good one the other day for it.
What?
I saw a woman post something. She said it felt like I've just stepped into the Jerry Springer timeline.
Yeah, no kidding, right? So, but when as the month ended and she started a new one, she put up this only one. She started with one. She sticks it up there, and it was that Kumara. It was this purple violet, deep, you know, and with it were some greens and a little pink. But I mean, the color itself very much reminded me of Pleiadian. I told her, and the set before was kind of a Syrian Pleiadian thing. So I don't know. Obviously, like you said, these certain things have come available. You said they've come to join the party. But that's kind of been my experience, and I'm not a practitioner or a forecaster or anything, but I think what's happening is they become available, and then as you're open to it, you can grab those expanded energies, you know, to embody.
Yeah, for sure.
I think overall, we're all doing a hell of a job. Collectively, we're doing a hell of a job. We're way ahead of schedule. We've overshot the target, you know, and blown it away. And I think we're actually doing very, very well. So all these things that people talk about with 2020, 24, 2020, whatever, mean nothing to me, you know. They just don't mean anything.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think the point being, well, from what I've got is just there's less to do now. We don't need to do anything.
Yeah.
Just allow for it to happen.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's something else happening too. Let's get your thoughts on this. So Morgan put up a post yesterday about I can't remember, but it was either the morning before. We woke up and she's talking about this post, a very slice of life kind of post. I wake up, I'm looking at Todd, I'm feeling all this intense love, and we're not saying a word, by the way, to each other. And so he's feeling the same thing, obviously. She's getting these visions of packing and we're moving, and and we knew something was coming. And the amount of response to that post, and I'm not just talking about likes and hearts, I'm talking about comments. I think I looked this morning, there was 185. But it's not even the number of comments, it's the comments people are making. They're saying, I'm doing the same thing right now. I don't know where I'm going. A lot of good wishes, but a lot of energy of I'm with you. I'm getting that. I'm going to be doing that. You know what I mean? I mean, there's something about it's a liberative. It's a fearless, liberative frequency of, and it does carry self-value, and it carries emancipation and freedom. Liberation. Creation, and that's mind-blowing to me. If you get a small minority, of people out there, even like a million around this world, that is going to light this grid up. Vera and Augusta are doing it. They just got in Brazil.
Yeah, so I feel anybody who's pure of heart, who joins in collectively with that, support basis. I mean, the amplification there, that frequency alone is something phenomenal.
Yeah.
So it really is about sticking together and on this show, everywhere, sharing stories, being authentic, speaking from the heart space.
Yeah.
That alone is next level.
Yeah. It's not even the words, right? Just the
they're no words.
Frequency. It's the yeah, like you said, the heart. I don't know. This may be off the subject or off. So I don't remember how long it lasted, but the lucid dreams are starting to really pick up. Kind of like as an example. So the post that she wrote, referring to that morning, we both realized that we were in dream state, and that we came out of dream state into waking state with very seamlessly, like there was no drop off. So we were very aware of that. So by the same token, I've been having lucid dreams picking up slowly that are seamlessly moving into my conscious awakening as I wake up each day. And last night, I don't know how long it lasted, it seemed like hours and hours. There were spiders everywhere. Like I wasn't scared of them or anything, but everywhere I turned, there were spiders. And I'm like, what
was this in a dream or in your awakened state?
No, this was in a dream. This was in dream state, lucid dream state, to where I
abundance.
Yeah,
abundance.
Is that what it is? Because I mean, it was like I never seen so many spiders in my life, and I didn't get scared. Although this one black widow crawled up my leg or something, I didn't know where it went. I'm just like, okay, well, good way to die. But yeah, I just thought I'd throw that in there because I think the lucid dreams. I've noticed that about people. There seem to be little cycles of where they start coming in really strong.
Yeah, so I've had the exact same thing about 2 weeks ago. It's when you're in a relaxed state, in a rested state, and all of a sudden you've just come in and out of a dream in the form of a download or a vision.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's seamless.
Yeah.
I've had the exact same experience. And the first one was about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. And then I have this thing happen to me the other night where we went to bed as we usually do, clasped hands, and then she was doing her thing. A lot of times we won't talk, but we're experiencing the same things, and that's the information we get. But mine, she said I kept snoring, and I'm sure I was, but mine, I was literally going into this deep, sleep, you know, um, but then I would pop back out because I was very aware of what was going on in the room and what energies were in the room, because there was a lot of energy showing their faces. But I was really kind of amazed. In fact, I got up in the middle of the night to go sit down and think about it, because it was like they were the same. Like there was no dimensional difference between when I was fully awake, looking at stuff in the room, laying next to her, and then I go into this dream state where physically I'm snoring, but it's the same things playing out. You know what I mean? So
It's the same room, same type of vision, just different objects in the room than before, quickly shifting from one view to another, but it's the same thing.
Yeah, it was very trippy. Very trippy. No more dragons? You haven't run into any dragons lately?
I do. I've had a few. Yeah, the other night, purple dragon's been in my space, but I don't see it as a physicality like you have. So I see them as energy with my third eye, and it's very connected to the divine union.
Yeah.
Always, whenever that dragon comes, I have a picture on my wall of a man and a woman coming together, and they always show up by this picture, like the Syrian aspect I saw the other night.
Yeah.
And that's how they're showing me, listen, we are here for this.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me, because if I look back at the last 4 years with Morgan, there were things that happened that, I mean, especially in retrospect, that I know, or we know, that our higher aspects came in and made something happen or didn't let something happen. And then more recently, it's become very obvious, which has made it easier to let go, which has made it, not that it's easy, but it's made it easier to say, okay, we're detaching from everything, all our possessions except for the clothes on our back, a couple of suitcases, and we're going to head into the mainland. But we're not attached.
This is Hawaii you're talking about?
From Hawaii, yeah. From here, we're heading first to LA.
Okay.
Because and sure enough, and I had told her maybe 2 weeks ago, I said, we had somebody contact us. I said, I've been feeling LA. I don't care for LA. I don't like these big giant metropolises. I don't mind a visit, or work for a couple of days, but which I'm sure that's all it'll be, but I don't know. But anyway, my point is I felt the fit, right? I felt the fit. And it's like I felt like over about 2-3 weeks before the end of the month, I was like, I think we're leaving, She's like, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it. But when she got it, well, we actually both got it that morning that she wrote about. But my point is today, somebody I know who talked a bit, a supporter, sent me a note, which also further fit. And then I got another note from another person that also further fit. Geographically, collaboratively, so.
Yes, that's it.
Yeah.
So people will be within reach.
Yeah.
From a collaboration perspective.
Yeah. Yeah. And I feel like that the rest of this year, and I'm going to pull something up here. The rest of this year and certainly next year, let me see here, is going to be a very physical, in other words, the stuff that we've been doing through the internet and etherically is going to take a very physical, part of our lives now. physical gatherings, physical coming together, which will really tighten things up. I think, it'll really tighten things up.
That's fantastic.
I'm trying to find this post. Damn nation. But yeah, I think we're gonna be seeing some of that.
It's fantastic. So I'm interested in the Black Widow that you saw. That's fine.
Well,
Now you got thinking about that.
It went up the back of my shorts. Now this is in the dream, basically to my ass. And I thought, well, hell, I can't. I kind of went, but I couldn't get it. I couldn't get it in time, and it kind of disappeared. But I didn't have any fear at all. In fact, I actually got like a, almost like a powerful thing. It was, honestly, what it felt like. It felt like a feminine energy.
It was up your left leg as well.
It was up I don't remember. I just
Okay.
went into my, into my midsection, basically. Or I lost sight of it. I don't know where the hell it went. I really don't. That was kind of weird. So you're saying that it is
abundance.
Abundance.
Spiders of abundance.
There were so many of them. It was just ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. Yeah, I'm going to show you something. So this is trippy. I can put it up on the screen. So when I got up this morning, one of the first things I do, and this is going back to what you were saying about people being in proximity and what I was just elaborating on. So in the mornings, I'll wake up, and a lot of times I'll pull up memories. You can pull up the Facebook memories, and I do that so that I can work some material into the Soulogy group and whatever. So this is tricky. So I get up this morning and I pull up the memories, and last year I shared a post by Morgan from August 1st, 2015, which was about 5 weeks before we met. Okay, so this is trippy. Now, the first part is not the main part I wanted to talk about, but the first part, well, it's entitled Soul Gatherings, right? And it says, I could feel my both of her kids around for a month before they came, and she knew they were coming. And then she talks about that a little bit. She said, tonight, I've been awake all night, feeling the new energy coming so close, I can feel his touch upon my skin. Wow. which is interesting. But this is where it got really interesting. So she said, now, when he was not getting in my way tonight, distracted me, which I think is actually funny, and that sounds like me, right? And so she says, I could see the commencement of soul gatherings, not just for me, but the many I am told that it's time to gather, to connect, to share, and that we will be joined by our higher dimensional energies. The many groups are forming around the planet now, sharing tools, gifts, knowledge, skills, where the starseeds, shaman, dragons, magicians, high priestesses, indigos, etc., come together. No, not with one in charge, but all offering equally. Now, to read this today, I think, because a lot of this stuff, like she's gotten and many people have gotten, was, on the linear, in respect to the linear, was way ahead, a couple of years ahead, months ahead. But I think this is something that's really coming into fold, materializing, is where, with the guidance and influence of our higher aspects, you, me, we, and it, and our own conscious alignment, and courage, we're coming together in the physical, which, hey, the internet's powerful, the etherical is powerful, we all know that, but to come together consciously, aligned in the physicality, is an extraordinary proposition.
100%. And what I've noticed this week for me, and just to touch on your point about saying or labeling someone as awakened or unawakened, or I had a few friends at once from maybe 10 years ago who are top drawer, pure of heart individuals. Yeah. And at once they all reached out to me. So I think it's going to be very interesting moving forward now you know, the people coming into our lives, you know, all in all, for the assistance on our own creations and the co-creation moving forward. So I agree with what you're saying, whether someone's awakened, unconscious or conscious. I think it's going to level out, and you know, those words might not even be used anymore, whether someone's awakened or not.
Yeah. Well, you know, and I know
these people being conscious individuals, they just don't call themselves awake. That's what I've known.
Yeah, and I think we've seen a lot of people. We've all seen people who don't run in these circles who live a conscious existence. But to your point, I know it doesn't make all the sense in the world to our human aspect and where we're coming out of, but truly, when you get right down to it, the categories of conscious and unconscious is separation too. I mean, the only way we're gonna, well, it would only make sense that the way we're gonna continue to drive to a, you know, to a 0 point soul highway, you know, that the eye of the needle, whatever you want to call it, is to remove separation in every single way. And I know it sounds a little cliche and woo-woo, but you know, really, if you refer to somebody as conscious or unconscious, or whatever label you want to give them, you're feeding separation, and I think that includes behavior. I think that in the spectrum of our experience, that some things don't look alike, but it's the same energy, and I think that goes too for what, you know, Morgan and others talk about in terms of polarities. If you tame the polarity or claim the polarity on one end of the spectrum and you don't deal with the other polarity, it's still going to be active in your field. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of empaths and narcissists or empaths that have been in narcissistic relationships have that, you know, because, oh, well, he did that, she did that, and that was, I'm not like that. You know, I was over here on the other end of it, you know, the victim or whatever you want to call it. But I think it's very important because, again, we start to drill down into our day-to-day interactions and our life experience and a reflection of our past life experiences. We start to realize how we've contributed to separation, the energy of separation, just not because we're bad people, but because this is the conditioning that we were raised in.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. 100%. I think I did see that video with yourself and Morgan talking about what narcissist, empath, or the victim, abuser, and how the energy is the same.
Yeah.
And when one goes up, then the others, there's a balance there. But either way, whoever we've attracted into our lives, we've attracted that.
Yeah.
So there's something inside of us. So I know when I've been in these kind of friendships or, you know, really, really traumatic relationships and interactions, okay, the only way for me to shift out of those interactions and relationships was to go within and see what is it within myself that I'm attracting in these relationships. And I was able to do that. I'm not saying things don't happen, and you know, I have been attacked now and then, but nothing too serious. But I'm able to manage that. And when it happens, always go within.
Yeah, it's always safer. And going within is, you know, when in doubt, shut your mouth. Don't say nothing to nobody. I love what Ingrid, because it's a not a normal behavior from where we come from, because where we come from is one wounded child or whatever is going to engage the other wounded, you know. You know what I mean? And so that's what we would do. But so that's hard for people to accept. But I think the more of us that stay in that silence and in that strength, the more that energy will be picked up. But I love what she said, because I asked her the question. I said, you know, something like that. And she said, well, when I tell somebody that I'm integrating and I need to be alone and I need to be quiet and I don't have anything to say, and they come back and give me shit for it, she says, I block them instantly because I figure that what they can gain from more silence from me. They may need more silence You know what I mean? However she put it was funny, but
Yeah.
but we have
No,
to thine own self be true. You know, I mean, this is it.
no, I mean, I've had to, not had to, but I chose to block certain individuals over the past few months. I mean, nothing serious. It's just with that person there anyway, I don't have the room or the space to go in side myself and see, well, why am I attracting this thing?
Yeah.
I will always do my best to communicate to the individual, but sometimes there's nothing that you can say.
It takes two.
Yeah, there's nothing that you can say, and it's just better for both of you, because then that individual is not going to change their behavior if you just allow it to happen.
Takes two. Takes two, and then the other thing that we've experienced, and when I say this as a learning tool, because that's what this all is, but the other thing we've experienced too is when you have that situation, and then either yourself or the other person pulls in another person.
Yes.
Instead of a triad, triangulation, you know, where it's a 2 against 1 thing. So, you know, these are all I think really important things, because we can talk about the 1111s and the 5555s, and Kuan Yin, all respect, you know, gave me this information, and the galactics visited me, and the dragons breathed on me, and all this stuff. But really, it's this part of like, what are we looking at? What's your experience like? Can we talk about it, remove judgment? And can we just be honest about what we're observing? Honest observation. Part of what I tried to describe earlier, I see high vibrational people that have unconscious aspects, which is totally understandable, including myself, all of us. And what I'm saying at the top of the show was that I'm seeing it more now than ever, louder than ever. Therefore, that great divide in us, not out here. So going back to what you're saying, that's telling me, hey, heads up, kid. You better keep yourself in check. Keep checking yourself. Keep on moving, but check yourself, because if you're seeing these high vibrational people having these little blades of unconscious expression, or whatever you want to call it, then it's got to be in me too. So, you know, that's and that, to me, that's a good sign for us collectively, because if that's being shown, then it's means it's in the process already of being transmuted, transformed. Just a matter of when.
For sure. Yeah, for me, it's pretty simple. If something about someone else bothers me, I know it's in me.
Yeah.
I know it's in me, and I know to check myself.
Yeah. So there's one other that I know right now that so that Morgan picked up on. We've been talking about experience the last few days. As we said earlier, you know, Amanda Lawrence, a few others, Wanda Vitale, talking about self-value being the big deal for the month, and what that really means. You know, like self-value means saying what you need to say, doing what you need to do, and not settling for cookie crumbs, you know, like a lot of us did, thinking, you know, coming out of a sacrificial type of loop. You know, Jesus sacrificed, so I got to sacrifice. Love is sacrifice. You know, and this is all going away. Her early intel for August is operating from unconditional love for self. You know, like, and that fits to me. It fits because you went from self-value, which is the examination and the conscious action of embodying that, to like moving into a grace of, you know, of true, or of more true unconditional love for self. You know, that's to me very encouraging, and that fits with the trajectory of the year and what 2020 with that number, what it looks like to me anyway. I don't know. To me, it looks like that's just going to be, I don't know, that could be it. I don't know. There isn't it.
Yeah, if there is an event. some people call it an event, but yeah, definitely. It's just, all I can say is that what I'm getting is it's big. This is a big moment in time.
Yeah,
Moving
no
from
doubt.
2020,
No doubt.
big moment in time. And there's no need, what I'm getting as well, there's no need to struggle financially in whatever way, shape or form. There's no need to struggle. There's enough to go around. There's more than enough to go around.
Yeah. And of course, and there's not just always one thing, but as we talked about earlier, these people making these leaps. I think that's another thing that's happening is our human aspect has been brought front and center. Like all the other stuff came in, and hey, and you get past all of that, and there's the human, which is the wounded child from every age, every part of us, right? Sitting there, and you realize, okay, we have, like you were talking about this last day, is you start to bring in those human multiple aspects, the multi-human aspects that you left behind, that you haven't claimed, and once you do that, and I think again, collectively, it's a great sign, because I think what happens is, in order to take these leaps, obviously the human aspect has to be at a certain level of surrender / comfort or discomfort or whatever the case is. So to see that, to me alone, is like a huge igniter and illuminator that it will be a contagious, contagious energy for other souls, and it will just continue to exponentially expand. That's why I don't think we can. I think we're going to blow linear time right off the map because of this. What's happening?
Yeah, I like that. I like the way you put that.
Huna says some of us are in 2020 now. Good point.
Yeah, well, it's already happened.
Yeah,
it's already happened.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
Yeah. So have you been noticing time? Has time been moving quickly for you, like very quickly?
Man, I can't get my arms around that. I really can't. I don't know. I'm just totally off on that one. I don't know. It certainly hasn't been moving slow, but it certainly hasn't been moving like I'm missing anything. I think the last time it was slow was when Morgan went back to Australia after we came to Hawaii the first time for 57 days. That was a long 57 days, but I wasn't like, totally off kilter. I tell you what, though, I'm just reflecting on the last 24 hours. I don't know why I'm supposed to bring this up, I guess, or whatever, you said that came in this morning. Now you're in the evening. You're 8 o'clock at night.
Yes.
So I'm 10 o'clock in the morning.
It's 11 o'clock here at night, yeah.
Yeah, so yours would have been, 11 o'clock. So yours would have been, yeah. So in the same time period, yesterday was a very, I would say, a day that had extreme energies showing, right? Like I don't know. I'll make something up. Self-value, high self-value, and no self-value, or just whatever. These big.
Yes, that's it. That's it.
So last night, this is crazy. So I had a couple of chaotic things happen, right? Just like many little nothing, and it was really I was good. I just again, So what I did was I jumped in the car. Morgan was already in bed. I jumped in the car. It was only a mile down to the beach, and I cruised down to the beach. And it's probably 11:30 at night. But over here, everybody goes to bed early, so you don't see a lot of people. So I pull over there at the beach, and I'm sitting there listening to a song, sitting in the car, and all of a sudden, 4 cop cars. Now this is Hawaii, laid back Hawaii. This isn't LA or Houston or other places I've been where this is normal activity. But they all, just 4 cars just come right to my car. The lights on, in my face, jumping out of the car. And I don't know what happened, man. I just opened my door. I got out. I stood up. There was one right in my face, and I didn't have to explain anything. He just goes, "What are you doing?" I didn't say anything. And then he says, "Well, we're out here just making sure people are doing what they should be doing." And I just looked at him, and I don't know. It was a higher aspect in me. It wasn't this fearful human. It was just like, I own this. This is my field. I own this shit. You know what I mean? I don't know how to put it. And then he said that he made the whole conversation, and I don't think I said one word, but have a nice evening and be safe. But what I'm getting at is that was what was a very elevating, expansive day, a demarcation line from one month to the next, or whatever you want to say. And then here, that chaos still will show its face as we're working our way out of it. You know, I don't know. It's another reminder to me to check yourself. You know, to check yourself always.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've heard you speak about it before. Some of the things that, for me, I don't want to deal with, like renewing my driver's license or those kind of things. They're just things that I don't want to deal with, but I'm finding myself, it's still there.
Yeah.
Right now, these things are still there, and I still have to go and do things. And on my way to go and do it, I was pulled over by a cop as well.
Right.
Yeah, I went through the motions and it was fine, but that's definitely still there. It's definitely still there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's no doubt. And I sat there and I thought about it. I sat there, I got out of the car then, and I walked up to the beach. And I thought about it. I thought, I mean, was that a timeline that just popped in? And and I thought, well, how would you have acted 2 months ago or 6 months ago? Because there's a time I would have just sat in the car and cracked my window and said, "What do you want?" And I have, and didn't always work out. But I don't know, man. It was just weird. But I see that's been happening. Little chaotic mergings of frequencies, misalignments, whatever you want to call it, stories. And again, I see a great evidence of many people, which is a reflection of the collective, of doing a hell of a job. I think we've done a hell of a job. I really do. Even those that you think are unconscious, we have done one hell of a job, and we need to give ourselves some credit. And that is part of, maybe that's part of the self-value recognition that came this past month. Which, looking at, I think it was Wanda Vitale's stuff, she said that's actually going to be, as you go into the Lionsgate 8/8, whatever, that's actually going to be, in other words, there'll be further opportunity to expand and build off of that specifically. I just pass this information off just to help. I'm not saying it's gospel.
No, that makes sense. Definitely makes sense. So almost like when you talk about that, the cops arriving all at once, it's almost like this, they picked up on an energy.
I don't know, man. It's possible.
And they just were drawn to it. Because, I mean, if you're involved in a divine conscious union, there's a higher frequency involved. Well, and that's why there's sometimes chaos around unions, like jealousy or any of these vibrational acts by a human being. Yeah. I know that when I was in close proximity to my partner, there was extreme chaos around it. Yeah. When people picked up on that energy, on that frequency. So maybe you're just carrying a frequency with you that's being picked up.
I don't know.
Or maybe they left better off. Who knows?
I don't know. I was amazed at the, I mean, I've had that happen many, many times. Okay. And my experience overall hasn't been that good. But I was amazed at how soft it was. I mean, it was just weird. It's like I made the choice, I guess, and it was just all intuitive. I made the choice to get out of the car. So I got out of the car, and that's one of the things you don't do, as we all know. Not this day and age. But I'm in Hawaii, and I hadn't seen any chaotic stuff going on with cops and stuff like that. They're pretty laid back, and there's not a lot of them. I mean, I won't see 2 cop cars in a month. And I got 4 of them. I mean, one of them was a paddy wagon, right? So like rounding people up, you know, like prepared. So there was like 4 of them. So they were definitely doing some type of operation. But I was just amazed that when I stepped out and I was this close to him, he was a big guy, and I didn't say anything. He just kind of said everything, you know. But his face wasn't like the typical cop, you know.
Yeah,
I'm here for
maybe
blood.
an incognito interaction.
Yeah. But
maybe just someone stepping in there divinely for some reason that will make sense later. But I know I've had those experiences before.
Sure.
When after the interaction, I'm like, hang on, this is something funny here.
Yeah.
There was something different. This wasn't normal, this interaction.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And one time it was someone begging on the side of a street with a hobo, someone who was homeless. And I just had one of the best conversations ever with this person. And then only afterwards I clicked, hang on. There was something different there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know if maybe it was one of those that you're talking about, or
I don't know, man. I don't know what the hell it was, but it was very strange. But it was good. It was weird though. It was like being in it was like having a dimensional experience. Because as I walked to the beach, I stood on the beach for a while. I totally felt like I was in another dimension. But I don't know. That's been happening too. Like we're consciously, it just feels like we're in another dimension. But we're looking at what we've always looked at, you know. So all that stuff's still going on. So, and then the other thing too, that I want to say, not today so far, but the last 3 days probably, especially yesterday and the day before, the tones have just been going bananas. They're very clear. They come in groups. They don't last a long time, and most of the time, it's coinciding with truth being spoken or an experience that I'm being told, remember this, hold this frequency band, or just align with the sound. But very clear, very clear. That's a good sign too, I think.
Yeah, and how have your downloads been?
What? I guess I don't know. I mean, I think.
Are you getting hit with like the nausea and those kind of symptoms with the downloads?
Oh, I think you meant like, yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Those 3 or 4 days, as the processing was coming to a completion before the surge, okay? Yeah, both of us. So I might say to her, hey, I feel nauseous. And she's like, I'm fine. And like 5 minutes later, she'll be like, oh, no, I feel nauseous. Or vice versa. I had it this morning. No, absolutely. I had achy joints for 2-3 days. And I don't usually get hit too hard with ascension symptoms other than dehydration. But the achiness and the nausea was very prevalent for 2-3 days. No doubt. Yeah. No doubt at all. Definitely some major changes happening very quickly within my body. On a personal level, I can say that. I don't know how that went for everybody else, but that's a definite, no doubt.
Yeah. And you familiar with the human design?
Yes.
So that was probably one of the most incredible stories on a YouTube that I watched. His name is Rahuru. well, his name changed to Rahuruhu, and he received the download for the human design in 8 days.
Wow.
And he tells the story of, from a physical perspective, what he went through exactly in those 8 days. And he downloaded the entire human design.
Wow.
And he was being told, just with a pencil and a piece of paper. So I wonder if there are people that are going to be experiencing it to that degree, these kind of downloads coming through, and just what are people going to be creating? It's going to be fantastic.
Yeah. So it's what, August, and if you look at the speed of the experience over the first 7 months, I don't think it's slowed down. I think it's every month is sped up. So what's going to happen in the next 5 months? Wow. Anything's possible. Anything's possible. But it all stems from the individual stepping into that unknown, stepping into the magic, going through the fears. That's how we're dismantling this illusionary matrix, whatever you want to call it. I will say that I think the last 2 times that we lay down to meditate at bedtime, I'll say the last 2 times, there was 2 times, so it was 2 of the last 3, or the last 2, I did see, and it wasn't the first time, but part of what I was seeing, I like to keep my eyes open. And I guess our room was by design the perfect room to have, right? But because of the way it's laid out. And what I was seeing was, in fact, one of them I was told, do you see this? See through that. See through that to what's behind it. And then I saw these lines, and they went like that. So there was some type of, what would you call it? Like ley lines and grid lines that were very clear. Like it, you know what I mean? And so it was like,
Yeah.
it was like, and I couldn't make out everything behind it, but it was obvious that what they were trying to show me was we're that much closer to, like, I want to say a quantum leap, but a big leap in our our spectrum of visible light, what we can see with the eyes.
Yes, and I think for me personally, so, and all of us, I feel, we get shown what we're ready for.
True.
Because I mean, if I was to see maybe some things in physicality now, it might be too much of a shock to the system, and some people, myself, go into psychological shock. So everything's perfect, and it's being shown. So I'm being shown a little bit. So maybe just with the dragon energy, and then, because I mean, I'm even getting shocked with some of the things that I'm seeing now, and it's just as an energy. So that's something that's been happening for me, is I'm being shown things. I'm getting, so I'm adapting, getting used to, slowly getting comfortable with the presence.
Yeah, and I think that's
what I'm being shown.
I think that's important too. Like, I got a message from a brother a couple of days ago, and he says, "I don't see these things. I wonder why I don't see them." And I do. I think you're right. I think everybody's coming from a different place. Like Morgan doesn't. If anything starts happening outside, she runs in the house. I would prefer to stay, see what's coming on. But to your point, the other night, I think 2 or 3 nights back, it was, and I had that frame of mind. I said, "Hey, she's got her eyes closed. We got our palms crossed. I know she was already connected." And I was like, "I'm keeping my eyes open. Bring it on."
Yeah.
I did see some stuff, but they told me, they said, "Look, man, we can't do that. We do that, you're going to be fried. You know what I mean? It's going to blow your mind. We can't do it." It has to be a little.
The vibration is so high, the frequency as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So are you doing? You still doing session work?
Yeah, so still doing one-on-one sessions, and that's all I'm pretty much doing. So just one-on-one session for individuals. Yeah,
that's good. That's perfect.
Yeah, so I haven't been guided for a website yet. That will happen when it happens. So still, just my Facebook page and my services page. If anybody wants to reach out, if you feel there's a resonance, then please, yeah, reach out and let's have a chat and let's see how I can be of assistance.
Yeah. Yeah. Right on. Perfect, man. Well, until the next time, I'm going to go start clearing stuff, making room. We
Okay,
could be,
great. Thanks.
yeah, we
Thanks
could
very much, Todd. Appreciate it.
always, man. Love you.
Okay.
You take care.
Cheers. Bye-bye. You too.
All right.